Ahoy there, traders, and welcome. Thank you all for your kind words before we pressed record. We've already said our hellos, so we'll forego that again this week for the recording. But nonetheless, thank you for your time, for your attention. Again, I appreciate there's probably many things that you could be doing with your time, but you've decided to spend some of it with me, and I really appreciate that. Every week, I just want to say thank you before we do anything for spending some time with me. For those of you who are new to these workshops, this is the usual formats. We usually spend about 20 to 30 minutes talking about the markets. If I can think of something clever and creative, we'll have a discussion, a little bit of an education piece, but mainly the whole thing is educational in that I'm showing you what I do on a daily basis, and then I'll just have some thoughts on a single focus. This week's focus is going to be the 20-minute trader. My whole ethos around trading is I don't want to spend all day doing it. It can be done in as little as 20 minutes. As with anything, the quality controls that we put in place, ensure that we have this 20-minute experience, we have this production line. And that's basically what we want to talk about this week again. Just peel that back and how you can create your own 20-minute trader experience. We'll take a little look at the markets. There's little to review in the closed trades. We've had a long weekend since last week. There's been a little bit of, not really much going on. We've got one or two trades, a few successes to talk about, so we'll have a look at those. And again, we'll just give you, rather than have a look at the markets, this week we'll again just give you a little bit of an experience of like what this 20-minute trader experience looks like. We're going to look at some scanning processes again, just basically finding something to trade. That's really, what I want to spend my time doing is like, what do I need to look at today? And I want to ignore everything else. And that ties into the discussion later on with the 20-minute trader. Anyway, if you are new and you don't know who this guy with the weird accent from Liverpool is, I'm not a Wall Street guru, never have been. I'm one of these rare breeds who figured it out. I did crack the code. I wanted it for myself first. I didn't plan to be some guru, teacher, internet person. It just turned out that people kept asking me. It's simple to replicate. Again, I refer to what I do as a production line. It's not a marketing gimmick. It's by design. Again, it ties into the 20-minute trader. I want it for myself first. My kind of 1-minute backstory there is I've got Crohn's disease. I get ill. I get tired quite regularly, quite frequently. So I want to be able to do everything I do in the most efficient way possible. So it's for myself first. And then it turns out that, hey, all of you great people get to benefit from that. Who is me? I'm just a regular guy. I find a bit of success. I figured a few things out along the way. I made a few mistakes. I learned from them quickly. But what I get to do is I get to do whatever I want to do. I like helping people. I like doing these workshops, so that's a choice. I like spending my time reading books. I like going coffee shops. I like just relaxing and basically just trying to have a de-stressed life. As I touched on a moment ago, I've got Crohn's disease. It's a stress-related illness. So I'm constantly trying to just improve myself mentally, physically, enjoy the small family that I do have, and just have a nice, slow, leisurely pace of life. That's what I want to do. I'm not into fast cars. I'm not a car person. I don't care too much about them, but it's my life. That's all that matters. So whatever you want from your life, that's what I'm trying to help you with. It's the lifestyle that you want. Not what everyone tries to present you. But this is my life. I can only tell you about what I do and what I want from it. And you can obviously put what you want into yours. I've been trading full-time since 2001, hand-drawn charts since the early 90s. Yes, I didn't have a computer back then, but nonetheless, the same processes still work. I've been calling out all my trades, or majority of them, since 2004, managed private client accounts with assets under management of 10 million, specialized in Forex for 12 of the last 20 years. It sounds like a bad movie, 12 years of Forex trader. I'm sure it'll be quite boring. But nonetheless, the most recent decade has been trading futures, stocks, and stock options, focusing on short-term trades. And more recently, I've been kind of gone back to my roots and kind of digging my toes back into the day trading world while we're in lockdown. I've got nothing else to I can't go to my usual coffee shop venue, so we're digging a little bit deeper into the coffee shop. And again, you get the benefit of that because, we've systemized and processized that into its own production line, so we can have a 20-minute day trade if we want. Anyway, One thing that is consistent through the ages is that I am obsessed with helping you become better traders, whether we work officially together in some capacity or just helping you and pointing you in the right direction. So that's me. That's who I am. Let's take a look at the charts. What we're going to do is we're going to look at basically some of the scans. Again, the market's not open. 20 minutes trader. It takes longer to explain than to actually do. The research, what the first step of it is, what are we actually doing? What are we actually trading? How do we actually find something worth trading? This is pretty much what we do every week. Certainly in these sessions, we do it every day. But the whole purpose of today's discussion is 20-minute trader. And I'm going to try and illustrate this with a story. Like my background, like how do you become a 20-minute trader? Maybe you've got other things that you want to do in your life. Maybe you've got work. Maybe you've got other commitments. Maybe you've got family life. Maybe you've got adventures to explore. Maybe you've got things that you want to do. I don't know what your life is. I don't, but I can only tell you about my life. So that's what I'm going to do just briefly, just to try and illustrate how do you become a 20-minute trader. Like for most of you, you know me, you've been around me for a long time. For those of you who don't know me, I've got Crohn's disease. Back in the early 2000s, I had a priest stand over me and was offering me the last rites on what I then thought was going to be my deathbed. And it's a little bit of a wake-up call. As you can imagine, it's an extreme event in anyone's life. Right now, everyone's kind of having those extreme, like near-death experiences. You know, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but everyone's kind of having that experience right now. So I had a wake-up call, and the whole world has got one right now with this COVID thing. So 20 years ago, I had that kind of coconut tree shaking me, if you like. And it kind of like springs you into life. But with the situation that I found myself in, I've got a medical condition where I have permanent mild symptoms. So technically it's inactive, but I get tired really easily. I get fatigued really easily. It's an ongoing process. I've got damaged intestine. I've got several inches of damaged intestine. So again, it just gives me mild symptoms. It's stress related. So I want to constantly reduce my worries in life. So I meditate. I do all the things that you do to have a healthy, mental, stable life. Some would argue that Phil is just generally mental, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. I've embraced my weird and I'm okay with it. But I don't know what your life is, what your life entails. But ultimately, people want something more from life, which is why we're all here. We want to be able to trade efficiently. We want to maximize the opportunities, but without the sacrifice. That's the key there. Without the sacrifice, without ruining the family life, without spending 3, 4, 5 hours away from the family, the wife, the kids, the loved ones. You know, maybe you've not got a family. I don't know what your situation is. I can only tell you about my life. So in my case, what it allowed me to do. Now, I'd already figured this out. So fast forward, so we go from 2000, 2001, fast forward to 2013 now. And what happened was my father broke his hip. And I didn't realize at the time that that's a really big, when you're an elderly person, that's a really big thing. And it's a big thing to happen to anyone, but it can cause major problems. The older you are, the kind of the more problems that it could actually cause. So in 2013, he broke his hip. He was immobile for a while. He had it pinned and he got over it and everything was fine. But what it meant was, like, I was able to drop everything. It's like I went from spending 2-3 hours a day doing this, because again, you can spend as much or as little time as you want to do it. I've got the luxury of time. I'm very fortunate in that regard. But what I was able to do was go, okay, right, my priority has changed. My parents, before they passed away, they had a working farm. And although they weren't producing anything, it wasn't like cows working farm. They used to have a garden nursery. There were still things that needed doing around the farm. You know, it doesn't look after itself. So my priorities changed. I was able to quite literally go, okay, I'm not going to spend 3 hours every day doing it. And bear in mind, I'm also doing these educational pieces still. I've been doing this a long time. So I had newsletters to do and stocks to trade, stock newsletters to write, to tell people what I'm trading, when I'm trading, how I'm trading it. So how do we get that down from 3 hours a day to 20 minutes? So that was what this process allows me to do. The production line process that I keep talking about, it allows me to go from spending several hours, 3-4 hours doing it, to 20 minutes. and I could go and spend those 3 or 4 hours with my parents. They didn't live too far away from me, but I was able to go and visit them every day for the next 5 years before they passed away. And I've got to admit, I wasn't the best dutiful son. We'd become a little bit distanced, although geographically we lived very close together. I got wrapped up in my own life, as you do. But what I was able to do was just go and spend those 3-4 hours with them every day. It started off as the dutiful son thing, where I'd go down and do the chores and chop wood and do the coal buckets and go and maintain the farm and go and cut the grass and go and feed the chickens and all the other stuff. That's what it started off at. But eventually, my dad's hip got better. He got a bit more mobile. And as it turned out, it was the start of, it kind of triggered off lots of major underlying issues. Eventually he passed away, very sadly, but hey, he had a wonderful life. But what it allowed me to do was to go and spend 3 or 4 hours with them every day for the next several years. And they stopped being my parents and they became 2 of my best friends. Now, I don't know if you've got that relationship with anyone, whether you've got a best friend or if you've had that. And I've had many good friends over the years, but my best friends then became my parents. And if there was something that I could wish on anyone, it would be that experience. Again, whether it's with your parents, whether it's with a loved one, a friend, your partner in life, whoever that person is for you, if you've got that ability to just drop everything and just go and spend time and do what you want to do. And it became part of my routine. And that's my 20-minute trader experience. This production line that we've just been through in the looking over the shoulder market view, that's where this really got refined. How can I do everything I need to do in the time that I've got available that I want to allocate to this so that I can do other stuff, so that I can go and spend time with my family? What would you do with the extra time? What would you do? Do you want to spend, time with the family? Do you want to pay the extra bills? Do you want to go and, when we are allowed to go somewhere, do you want to go and have an adventure somewhere? The lockdown is not going to be forever. It will be lifted. We will see some normality. But if you can have that restructured life, and I would also say, like, trading can do that for you, it can give it to you. But I think I would also say, give some thought to the way that you structure your life as well. Can you think about this production line process for many things in your life, the systemization of, okay, how can I compress my day job, everything that I need to do in the day, that 8-hour working day, can I get all of that done in 2 hours a day? And I bet if you sat down and gave it some serious thoughts, you could probably come up with a solution. So anyway, back to the trading context. It all comes down to a production line trading. And I've started to think about this as the perfect trade system, because it really is systematic approach. It really does allow you to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, with who you want to do it. Again, I've got firsthand experience of it in multiple different areas of my life. It started off with my health. I physically, practically could not spend all day doing it, even if I wanted to, because of my health situation. And even to this day, that's the same situation. These sessions, they do exhaust me. I love doing them, which is why I do them. But at the same time, afterwards, I need to take a break because, hey, I'm a little bit overexerted, and that's okay. That I'm happy to do it, but I'm just trying to illustrate. It started like, I want this for me first, and this is what it entails. The first step to it is have a mechanical reason to do something. In trading context, we're looking for a mechanical, robust, practical, repeatable, systematic. You saw me do it. Click, sort the watch list. Okay, these are all the stocks that have pre-market volume. Great. These are all the stocks of that sub list that are moving pre-market. Great. From that sub list, it's a production line. You get the idea. We've been through an example. Then it's visual confirmation. Okay, we know what mechanically we're expecting to see. And again, just going back to the mechanical step, it could be, we could be using Dow theory, GAN theory, Elliott wave theory. We could be using moving averages. We could be using MACD, stochastics, some form of Ugga Bugga Bing Bong indicate. I don't know what the latest whiz bang tool is. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But then you want to visually confirm what you're expecting to see. If you're using moving averages, I use moving averages. If you're using moving averages, great. The average prices are saying this stock is going up. Great. Visually confirm it. You don't want to take the tool's indication. And again, they're not signal generators. Don't ever confuse them. No matter what anyone tells you, they're not signal generators. It's just a mechanical tool that says, hey, the average price has done this. Hey, MACD's done this. Hey, stochastics is doing, that's all. It's just, it's a tool. Visual confirmation is important. And you see us do that every week. Okay, now that we've got our 4 or 5 stocks to look at, let's visually confirm, what do I want to see in the visual confirmation, and have a little checklist for the visual confirmation. Great. Then the next thing we want to do is we want an entry mechanism. I've got 9 patterns that I like to use. I'm just going to call it the pullback, but there's 9 entry patterns that I use to look for a suitable entry. That's what I'm doing. Has one of those 9 things happened? Yes or no? And it should be an algorithm. And again, on all of those patterns, we've got a checklist for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, put the trade on. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, put the trade on. That's it. Let me say it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of those 9 patterns has happened. Great. 1, 2, 3, 4, put the trade on. That's it. It should be systematized to the point where you know what you're doing, when you're doing it, and why you're doing it. And then we've got the trade management. Okay, like what do we do when we're in the trade? We've got timeout, target out, exit out. I've got 3 conditions if it's going up, down, or sideways. Like there's only 3 things that market can do. If it goes your way, you're going to come out at targets. If it goes down, you're going to exit for a small loss. If it goes sideways and doesn't do anything and stays flat, it's going to time out. Like just get out of it. You know, you've got the timeout, the target out, the exit out. And again, we've got a checklist for each of those things. Has it done this, 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 or this? Step 1, step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, great. One of those 3 things is going to happen. That's it. That's what we want to do. So everything needs to be systematized, mechanized, production lineized. Is that a word? It is now. But that's what we want to do. Let's go through a quick example. So mechanical scan. You saw me do it earlier. Sort the watch list. A mechanical, replicatable, repeatable process to go and do something. These are the 4 stocks I'm going to look at today. I screenshot everything as I'm doing it. So these are all past stocks that I'd sorted. We've got the volume today. We've got them by the percentage. Okay, that day, whenever that day was, I've got 16 stocks to look at. On this day, I've got 14 stocks to look at. On that day, I've got 15 stocks to look at. On this day, it wasn't so many, just 11 stocks to look at. This day, there's 19. And this day, it looks like I haven't sorted it properly, but there we go. You got, in fact, no, that was yesterday. So we had like 20 plus stocks to look at yesterday. But it's a short list. Then we want to visual confirmation. Visually confirm. Is it? We've just been through that in the over the shoulder thing a moment ago, where you saw me practically do this. Like visually confirm what we're expecting to see, then go and put the trade on, then go and manage the trade. And this is what allowed me. This is my trade of this is the only trade I've placed this week on the day trade scan. We mentioned it earlier. This is BMY. If you want to go and look at it, BMY. But this is the day trade that we had yesterday. We have our mechanical rules. We found this with the pre-market volume. Visual confirmation, it was at the range low. Oops. It was at the range low. That's one of our, it's in a range. One of our 6 trends. We've spent a workshop on that previously in the past. Great. So nothing new is happening. It wasn't breaking out. Okay. So it's probably going to go from the range low to the range high. Cool. That's what we're looking for. On the 60-minute chart, we can see a little bit of a consolidation. So we've also got the breakouts of the range. So the breakout of this range on the 60-minute chart has got me into a range reversal on the daily chart. Well, that's interesting. And then over on the 5-minute, we're looking for our entry, trade the next pullback. This is one of our 6 patterns. You've got multiple entry opportunities, and we're looking for a target. These are all predefined. That orange line there, the green line there, that's our predetermined targets. Like we know what we're doing, when we're doing it, and why we're doing it. If it goes to the red line, I'm going to go out. The yellow line gets me in, and the green line gets me out if it goes to target. So that's the day trade of it. If you don't believe me, there's the broker statements. In and out in less than an hour. So what I'm hopefully trying to illustrate for you is that when you've got a systematic approach, it shouldn't take long. You should know what you're doing, when you're doing it, and why you're doing it. And this is what allows me to, if you want a 20-minute trading day, then all right, in fairness, you're probably not going to be day trading. I mean, we do have, you might take an hour doing it, in fairness. If you've got an hour, then maybe you can day trade, because I'm day trading the open. I'm going to do this as soon as I press stop on the record button and we finish up. In about 10 minutes time, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But you'll notice I'm not stressing over it. I've got my 5 stocks that I'm looking at today. You saw me prepare them. I'm only looking at 5 stocks. If one of those looks like this picture, the trade's going to go on. That's it. Trade the next pullback. We've got the management. Again, it's a little bit beyond our sessions, just to give you the production line. Practically, it's not, it just takes too long to explain these things. But what you should have is at the first, just kind of like that first glimmer, like you can systematize this. Some people might call it an algorithm. Technically, what I'm doing is discretionary trading. But discretionary trading doesn't mean that you can't systematize it. It doesn't mean that you can't be time efficient. I'm certainly not going to spend the next 5 hours. Again, I'm doing the bunny fingers thing, analyzing the charts. I'm certainly not going to do that. I want to do other things with my time. And to be fair, if there's no trade in 10 minutes when I check the day trade setup for the profits at the open, I'm going to go to the shops. I've got the wife just very kindly just texts me to say, here's a list of things I want from the shops. Great. I've now got some chores to do. Thanks, Mrs. Newton. I love you too. So I've got stuff to do. I don't want to spend hours flicking through the charts. So that's what I should hopefully have left you with. It's possible. And if you use that process that we've just been through, have a mechanical reason to look at a chart. Have visual confirmation of what you're looking for. So know what you're expecting to see. Look at last week's workshop. Look at the week before's workshop. We looked at this footprint last week. Have clear idea of what you want and the results that you're expecting. This, for me, is a perfect trade setup. I'm going to be dissecting this. I've already done it. We've already been through this with our insider group and dissected what we consider the perfect trade. The next step, you want to think about what's your entry mechanism. And then the fourth step of any production line should be, what are your management rules? What are you going to do if it's working, it's not working, if it takes too long to work? What are your management rules? So the question I've got now for you, and this is where we'll finish off on, is what's holding you back from your 20-minute trading process? Or, I mean, it could be 20, it could be 60 minutes, whatever the process is. But what's holding you back from your perfect trade system? What is it? So if I offered to help you find your perfect trade from either day trading or swing trading, and you wanted to learn in the smartest possible way so that you can focus on the best times to trade with essentially one simple pattern. It's actually 9 variations I actually mentioned earlier, but it's really just one pattern. You can learn all of this in the next 7 days in just an hour a day. Now, bear in mind, I said 20 minutes earlier, you've got to learn the system first. It's going to take you at least an hour just to learn it. And then you can boil it down to, if you just want to do 20 minutes, you can do. If you want to spend longer doing it, there's nothing wrong with that. I just prefer not to. And that's my life choice that I mentioned earlier. You'll also learn the TTE management system. That's the real secret to any success. It's how do you manage the trade once you're in it? That's the real secret to success right there. You're never going to stress over what the market's going to do today, tomorrow, next week. You will profit from both up and down movements in the markets. You'll never be spending hours flicking through chart after chart. You should be able to do what we did earlier and just zero in on the most important stocks for today. Again, whether it's day trading or swing trading. And I never read through boring company reports. It makes my eyes gloss over. The thought of it just sends chills down my spine. I don't want to do it. However, if you want to do it, you can add it into your perfect trade. I don't want to, so I don't do it. It's not essential for what we're doing. Some people do. Again, I personally don't. Most importantly, once mastered, you will start to see results. That's what we should happen. I want to be able to have a process that you can replicate. And if you're not seeing the results, then I'm here to help you. That's the thing. You should be able to build trade confidence so that you can transition into the best possible trader that you can be. And if you want help with that, would you take me up on my offer? Now, the next step is I don't know if what I do is right for you. I can only tell you what I do, and only you truly know that. But if you think that I'd like to learn more, then send me an email. I don't know if what I do is right for you. Let's just have a conversation. Let's see if it's right for you. If it is, we can have a longer conversation. If it's not, I'll always point you off in the right direction. If you're not ready for that, then you can self-select. You can go to the homepage, go to AntiVestor.com. If you need basic training help, like what's a chart help, you can start there. If you'd like to know a little bit more about, okay, what are the details of the day trade strategy Phil just explained? There's some information there. And if you want some help with the swing trading, you can choose that. Just click on the appropriate one. and it will take you to the perfect system for where you're at in your trading journey. That's it. So that's my invitation. If you want help with any or all of those things, then by all means, follow the right path for you. What we've discussed today is the 20-minute trader. You've heard my story about how I was able to do that for myself. And again, I just want to leave you with that question one more time, is like, what do you want from your trading? What does your trading life look like? And if you want help with it, let's talk.